From big studio blockbusters to small indie films, the summer movie season is upon us. More than 50 films will open between now and Labor Day. Coming up next on Prime, two of Dallas's biggest movie critics preview the summer movie season and what you should spend your money on and what you should avoid. Prime starts now.
Nothing's been the same since New York. You experience things, and then they're over. I can't sleep. And when I do, I have nightmares. Honestly, there's 100 people who want to kill me. I hope I can protect the one thing I can't live without.
Iron Man 3 kicked off the summer movie season with a bang, nearly breaking the record the Avengers set last summer for biggest opening weekend ever. Joining me today are the hosts of the Big Screen podcast, Chris Wagner with the Dallas Morning News and Stephen Becker with KERA Art and Seek. Welcome, gentlemen. Thank you for being here.
Thanks for having us.
So we are here. The summer movie season is upon us. First impressions?
Starts very early. I think summer starts June 21st, but summer movie season starts. It's going to start in March pretty soon. Right now it's still May. So.
Well, it is, and we've already had the Iron Man 3 and The Great Gatsby come out.
Yep, and just we'll keep on going and going and going until December, basically. No, not until December, until the fall.
So Iron Man 3 and The Great Gatsby, what do you think of those two? I mean, are they good ones to start off the season with?
Steven?
Well, Gatsby's an interesting choice to start out the season. If it seems to you more like a holiday, Christmas time movie, it's because it was originally going to come out around the holidays, but they punted to later in the year. It's a little brainier and more cerebral than what you might normally expect for summertime movies, but that's not necessarily a bad thing.
You see, I wonder why they did bump it.
Well, they never quite said, but my guess is that it was scheduled to come out around the same time as Django Unchained, which also stars Leonardo DiCaprio. I think they were worried about sharing his publicity duties, so somebody had to dodge it, and I think the producers of Great Gatsby said that they'd take it a little later.
And they saw the potential for it to be more of a spectacle than just sort of a prestigious awards season.
Right.
Kind of movie, and I think they're right in that, by the way, especially with the 3D and the star power and the razzle-dazzle. I think it actually is sort of an odd, covert summer blockbuster more than an awards kind of film. I don't think it is going to get a whole lot
you don't think so?
Awards representation. No, not really. I liked it okay. I thought it was a pretty solid film.
Right.
But I think it actually fits into this season again, in an odd sort of way, more comfortably than it would in, say, November or December.
Interesting. Well, we're going to talk about blockbusters, and then we're going to talk about the indies. So let's kick off with the blockbusters. And you've both picked your two picks that you think we have to see. So Stephen, you started off with The Hangover 3 as one that you thought everybody needs to see. We're going to just see the trailer, and then we'll talk about it.
Okay.
I told myself I would never come back.
Don't worry, it all ends tonight.
Someone needs to burn this place to the ground.
Woo! I like that.
Lisa, can you remember me? I'm the one that picked the option. Lisa, can you remember me? I'm the one that picked the option.
We've been on a lot of adventures together, but it seems like you haven't learned anything. Anything. I'll be in the limo.
So The Hangover 3, tell us about that.
Well, they've said from the get-go that this wasn't going to be just the same plot as the first two, and as anyone who's seen 1 and 2 knows, those are basically the same movie with different settings. When I think of big summer movies that I get excited for, it's not so much the big comic book movie or the big action adventure movie. I mean, those certainly have their place in the summer, but I get excited for the big comedy. And to me, this is going to be probably the biggest one of the summer.
I think movies, like Hangover 3 and Iron Man 3 actually have quite a bit in common in the sense that they both exist really just to generate money. I mean, the world does not need an Iron Man 3. The stars of Hangover 3, I think at this point, are making this movie so they can make the movies that they really want to make. I mean, Bradley Cooper has said that he made Hangover 2 so that he could go out and make more interesting films. Some of them very good, like Silver Linings Playbook, and some of them not quite as good, like The Words. So, I mean, these are revenue-producing juggernauts.
And so Hangover 3 falls completely into that category, too.
In my humble opinion.
Yeah.
Which is not to say that it won't necessarily be funny.
Well, talking about comedies, The Internship to me looks really funny, and that's pairing Owen Wilson back with Vince Vaughn.
Yeah, I mean, those two guys have had offers to do movies together ever since The Wedding Crashers came out almost 10 years ago, and I think it's going to be exciting to finally see them back together. This is actually the story. Vince Vaughn came up with this idea and commissioned someone to write this movie about two guys who lose their jobs as, I think, like watch salesmen or something like that.
Yeah.
And they compete for this very competitive, prestigious internship at Google. So naturally, they're two guys that are maybe a little past their prime, mixed in with a lot of just tech geeks who are probably going to teach them a thing or two about the tech world.
Well, let's take a quick look.
Nick, I got it. Google. You got us a job at Google? Not a job. It's an interview for an internship that could lead to a job. Nick, this might be the last chance that we got. Come in here. You got to come in closer. They won't be able to see us. See how small the webcam is? No, get cheek to cheek.
We can see you guys.
Okay, great.
You got us?
Hi, my name is Billy.
We can hear you fine as well.
Oh, great.
Are you ready for this?
Welcome to Google. This will not be your average internship.
We're looking at some sort of mental Hunger Games against a bunch of genius kids for just like a handful of jobs.
That's a Sharpie, by the way, genius.
That's my fault.
Hey, yo, it's time to get the party. I'm Lyle, one of the team managers. Pound me.
Oh, normally just putting the fist out without the words is all that's necessary.
Come on, bro. Fist me. Get up in there.
Yeah, that's definitely not right.
Your interns?
Yeah.
Shut up.
Deal with it.
You're so old, though. I thought you were important.
Sometimes the long shots pay off the biggest.
Our team's a joke.
You guys got to start believing.
To me, it looks really funny. Do you think The Wedding Crashers, will it bring in the same box office that The Wedding Crashers brought in for the two of them?
Well, that's asking a lot because that was, a bona fide comedy hit. A movie like this excites me a little bit more than, say, The Hangover 3 because it's not just trying to perpetuate a franchise for the sake of perpetuating a franchise. It has two guys who obviously work really well together, and it's a fresh idea. It's a fairly fresh idea. I think that's why we're giggling watching the trailer while it's on because it's actually something. It's a good idea.
Yes.
And it's not something that's been beaten to death.
And thank goodness
already.
for good ideas.
Yeah, because there really, frankly, aren't that many of them in Hollywood.
Well, talking about totally different ideas, Guillermo del Toro's Pacific Rim. I mean, that is as far from The Internship, as you can possibly imagine. So, because Chris, you chose that one, didn't you? Pacific Rim.
I mean, I'm not saying it's going to be great, but I think it's a really interesting match of filmmaker Guillermo del Toro, who's really, I think, his best films have been Spanish language, Pan's Labyrinth and The Devil's Backbone, and this is his chance to see what he can do with a lot of money at his disposal. So I think it looks a little bit like it might just be a slightly better Transformers movie.
Right.
I'm hoping it's a little bit more than that. I'm hoping he can bring some of his independent film panache and his actual vision to a movie that, again, has a huge budget.
Well, it looks huge. I mean, we'll take a quick look. I mean, what seems to appear out of the water is extraordinary. So let's take a quick look.
Pilots, ready to connect.
Let's go fishing.
2 pilots engaged in neural bridge. Ready to activate the Jaeger in 3, 2, 1.
edge of our hope. At the end of our time, we have chosen to believe in each other. Today we face the monsters that are at our door. Today we are canceling the apocalypse.
So is that something that really excites you as well?
It looks pretty cheesy, but it's got Stringer Bell. It's got Idris Elba from The Wire. I'm hoping he brings along some of the other Wire cast members. Unfortunately, Prop Joe is dead now. That would have been awesome.
I do enjoy that Idris Elba's getting a little bit more of his moment in the spotlight, because he certainly has earned it and deserves it. And if he, really makes something out of Pacific Rim, he could turn into a really huge star very quickly.
So we'll keep an eye on him then. And then one of the other big ones that you said everyone needs to watch out for, Man of Steel.
Yeah, it's I think Superman falls into a different category than all the other big franchise superheroes. He was sort of the first. He's the most popular. So I think a lot of eyeballs are on this to see what they can do with this very revered character and story and mythology.
And is Henry Cavill? Is that right?
Yes.
And do you think he'll make a good Superman?
I have no idea. I'm kind of excited to see Russell Crowe as his dad, though.
Well,
yes, that's true.
And the nice thing about this one is I understand that they're really going back and kind of resetting the franchise for a new generation. So if you haven't, seen every of the old Supermans, then this is probably a good way to get started.
All right. Well, so we have got some 4 good solid ones there for people to watch out for. And stay with us, because we are going to be right back talking about the indie films of the summer that you have to watch. Stay with us.